Hey you guys, so I was not planning on doing a vlog this morning, as you could probably see, because I didn't bother to fix my hair. I'm really due for a hair wash right now, but I have just started The Tiger and the Wolf by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and I am obsessed. I am obsessed. I am 57 pages in. So first I should preface this by saying that whenever I discover an author whose work is a 5-star read for me, such as Dogs of War was for me, which you guys might remember from my March reading wrap up, I tend to read or try to read their entire backlist, or as much of their backlist as possible, because sometimes authors have like a huge backlist and it's actually impossible, not impossible, but it's challenging, let's just say, to catch up on the entire backlist. But right now, I'm reading The Tiger and the Wolf, which I borrowed from my library, and guys, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this book. I've already put a hold on the second book in this trilogy, which is actually out, and there's already a hold on it right now. So I'm probably going to be the second hold on it, or like the third person to be reading it right now in sequence. And the library does have the third copy as well. So it's great. I will not have to buy it. My library has it, or at least the Montreal Library Network. It's not my library that has it, but I can get it through the network. So that's very good news, because this book, it doesn't have a price on it, but I'm quite sure it's up there in the $30 range, like easily. So I'm saving a lot of money by getting it through the library. And I'm on page 57. And I don't want to say that the book is predictable, but I kind of have a feeling that I might know where this book is going. I have a feeling that our protagonist, whose name is Manye, I think is how you would pronounce it, I have a feeling that her mom may not be dead. Like, she thinks her mom is dead, but I don't think her mom is dead. And the reason I don't think her mom is dead is because, okay, so I should start from the beginning. For those of you who don't know, The Tiger and the Wolf has to do with human shapeshifters that all have these different clans in this fictitious world, where some of them are wolf people, some of them are tiger people, some of them are horse people, some of them are alligator people, some of them are hyena people, and the list kind of goes on. And they are all at this war for like dominance on whatever land territory they're living on or in. And one Manye, who is our heroine, is the product of a wolf and a tiger. So she's kind of like got mixed race and can assume the shapeshift of either a wolf or a tiger. And her mother, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything, because again, this is like, I'm 57 pages of the way in. Like, it's impossible for me to spoil the story for you at this point, because I don't even know what's happening. But what I've gathered is that she is like hated by her father, who is of the wolf clan, and she also hates her father. And she knows nothing of her mother, except for the fact that her mother was murdered because she was a prisoner of her father's. Like, the mom was the father's prisoner, and she's of the tiger shapeshifters clan, and she was murdered just after Manye was born. She was taken into the forest and murdered by a lone wolf of the tribe. So he's kind of like a wolf shapeshifter, but he kind of does his own thing, marches to the beat of his own drum, and is therefore known as a lone wolf. Now, I think that because we're the audience, and I could be totally wrong, so please don't ruin the story for me if you've read it and I'm wrong about this, but I think since we as the audience have not seen the mother die, that I think she might be still alive. And I'm kind of like thinking that maybe the lone wolf that was supposedly took her mother into the forest to kill her probably let her go, because maybe Manye is not her father's daughter. Like, maybe this guy had an affair with the mom. Maybe. If not, like, I don't know. Like I said, I hope so. I hope so, because that would make for like a really good twist and a really good reveal. So I'm thinking that this is probably what's happening. Of course, I could be totally wrong, but I have to tell you guys, the book is so good. It's so good right now. I am picking it up to the detriment of everything else. Laundry to fold? Meh. Dishes to wash? Meh. I don't care. Family to say hello to when they come home from work and school? Not even thinking about that. I am reading this book. This is going to be the plan. I do have some work to do a little bit later, and I'm going to be listening to a French audiobook, which is going to be a first for me, because I had some Audible credits that I needed to spend, and there was nothing really that I wanted to buy at this time, and I'm actually thinking of canceling my Audible membership because it's really expensive. And there are some books that if you're a member, you could read for free without spending a credit on them. Some good ones like Red Rising, and there's a, Tigana, which you guys know I have a copy of already, which I could also get from Audible. but I'm thinking that I'm going to, I have 2 more credits left to spend, and I'm thinking that I'm going to cancel my Audible membership after that. You get to keep the books that you already own, but you just can't access the free ones that come with your subscription. And I think the reason I'm going to do that is because my library does have a good selection of audiobooks, and if I want more audiobooks, I could always get them either from my library or from NetGalley. So I really don't have time necessarily to listen to Audible reads, and I've just been sort of accumulating credits. So I decided that I was going to take out at least Volume 1, Part 1 of Robin Hobb's The Live Ship Traders series, but in French. Now, I never read in French. I know that there's a lot of YouTubers out there or booktubers out there that are French speaking primarily that do read in English, just as there are a lot of Europeans and people from other countries that primarily read in English. But French is my second language. Now, I've read in French before because I had to, because I took French as a mother tongue in that kind of stream in high school. So even though it's not my mother tongue, my studies were treated as if I did have French as a mother tongue. So I would have read Albert Camus, I would have read Les Trois Mousquetaires, Madame Bovary. I would have read it all in French. And if you're French and you're watching me and my accent is terrible, just know that I'm an Anglophone here in Quebec where I live. I'm not a French speaking person, but I do have like the knowledge here. So definitely there's going to be a pretty bad accent that's probably raking on your ears right now if you speak French. But I am listening to Les Aventuriers de la Mer in French, Volume 1, because I had that Audible credit and because it's a story that I know so well that there's no risk of my not understanding what's happening. So I thought it would be a good transition and just, to do something different with my brain and not lose my language faculties and, to read a book in a different language, but this time I'm like listening to it because I don't think that, first of all, reading in French, super expensive. Very, very expensive. For like a trilogy that's 500 pages in one book in English, it's actually split into closer to 1,000 pages if it's translated into French, because French is such a long language. When it's written out, it's like a more verbose language compared to English, which is more succinct. So it actually is more expensive because they're paying the same price for each. So if it's like volume 1 of a series, like Ship of Magic in that series, they would be getting the equivalent of Ship of Magic Part 1 and Ship of Magic Part 2 and have to pay full price for each of those, which effectively like doubles their cover price that they would be paying if they were reading it in French. So anyway, I was able to get the audiobook because I had some credits, and I'm reading the first part of The Live Ship Traders, and I'll probably end up getting the second part. Maybe if I think I would ultimately like to have the entire series if I'm thinking about it. Anyway, now I'm just rambling. So I wanted to talk to you guys just about this book. I don't even know how we got so off topic, but I wanted to talk to you guys about this book and tell you that I'm having a great time with it. I'm having such a great time. I needed to express that to somebody, and you guys are the unfortunate victims of my sleepy, just woke up, my very bad hair, which we're going to point out for the internet, and yeah. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, what are you doing here? No, but seriously, you guys are super lucky to be here. The YouTube algorithm has brought you to the best booktube vlogging, yeah, right, channel that there is. Okay, so yeah, this will probably be part of what I hope to be a longer reading vlog, but I don't know where I'm going to put this in. Probably in the middle once I have you hooked already, and then I'll let you know how it goes. Oh, and also, I picked up from the library the same sort of idea. It is the graphic novel of Game of Thrones. So this one here is volume 1. I started it. I don't know if you guys have seen the, that's what it looks like on the inside. So it is pretty cool. You guys could probably guess what scene that was. And I'm reading that one sort of casually because I have never really read, aside from Alison Bechdel's Fun House, I've never really read a graphic novel before, so I don't really know how I feel about it. I took out volumes 1 and 2 of Game of Thrones. 3 and 4 the library still had, and I decided not to be greedy and not to take them all out all at once. And I'm kind of glad that I did that because I'm not even sure that I'm going to read volume 2. I'm going to see how I go with that one because it's definitely not reading like a novel. And I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting it to be this kind of like bullet points, of a read. So I wanted to try graphic novels. I don't know if it's necessarily for me, but I don't want to judge it based on just one book. So I'm reading that. Now, as far as tackling the TBR goes, I'm still talking, even though I promised you guys I wouldn't talk, but I'm still talking. As far as the TBR goes, I'm not doing very well. I'm not doing very well on the tackle of the TBR because we are April 2nd right now, and I haven't started This Body's Not Big Enough for the Both of Us, which was supposed to be a sort of unofficial buddy read for anybody who follows this channel who has a copy of the book. That's what we're supposed to be reading this month, okay? We're reading that month, but I haven't started it. So, yeah, I'm just not doing well. And I still didn't finish Ordinary Monsters. I think I have something like 200 more pages to go on that one, but I keep tripping and falling into the library. And when I find a really good Tchaikovsky, that is ranking up there with Robin Hobb for me. So you can imagine what kind of praise that is that I'm giving it. And I'm really hard to please. So I'm super happy with this. I'm going to spend probably a good part of the day reading this. And yeah, we're just going to see how we go. So stay tuned.
Three days later.
Hi again. While we are busy not completing the physical TBR, which is what we should be doing, but we're failing spectacularly at doing right now on this channel, I did want to show you guys a few books that came my way via the universe. I'm not admitting to having purchased them, but my TBR might be growing. A little bit. Yeah, so I wanted to show you guys like a little mini book haul that I've done. Just some books that I picked up over the last few weeks that you guys haven't seen since I did the physical TBR video. So I thought you guys might like to see what those are, and I'm going to show them to you right now. And I'm going to let you guys know where I picked them up and why. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is I did a little mini book outlet book haul again. I picked up the second installment in the Ordinary Monsters series, and this one is called Bringer of Dust because I saw that book outlet had this one, and I knew that I liked the series and wanted to have the second book in it to see where the story is going. However, I still have not made progress on the book since we last spoke. I still have about 200 and some odd pages left, possibly a little bit more. So I don't know at what point I'm going to get back to the series, but I wanted to make sure that I had this one because sometimes the stock, when it's low stock, it can go pretty fast, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss out on it. So that's the reason that I picked up this one. And I had actually ordered 5 books so that I would be able to get the free shipping threshold at Book Outlet, but one of the books by Jeff Vandermeer, I think I had tried to order Annihilation. They were out of stock of that by the time they had gotten from the order that I placed to the processing. So they refunded me that, and my order still shipped for free, which was good. But I want to show you the other 4 books that I got. So I picked up a copy of Ink Blood Sister Scribe, which I'm hoping is going to do what I need it to do regards with, you know, romantic wise, because I think it's a romantasy if I'm not mistaken, but I did hear really, really good things about it, and just based on whatever echoes I had had from BookTube and other influencers, it's not a big book. Almost 400 pages, about 380 pages, so very reasonable. I have a paperback copy of that from Book Outlet as well, so excited to read it whenever I get around to it. And I have been hearing so much about this series right here, the God Killer series, which I'm sure is not what it's called. I don't know what the series is called, but I'll write it across the screen if I can find it, but I know that there's God Killer and Sunbringer, and I'm not really sure what the order of the series is as it comes out, but again, it's been on my radar for quite some time, and I know that Book Outlet had for a very long time just the second book in the series, but finally they restocked the first one, so I was able to grab it for a very reasonable price, so I picked that one up as well. I don't think the Book Outlet was having their $7.99 sale at the time that I picked this up, so I would have picked it up at like a regular price for them, which would have been like $8.99, $9.99, something along those lines, but certainly not the 20 some odd dollars that Amazon was asking. So I feel like it did okay. If you guys have read this one, let me know if you like it, if I should try to bump it up to the top of my reading priorities, which, as you may have guessed by this video, I'm not exactly sticking to my TBR plans, but you know, c'est la vie, right? Okay, and then lastly in that order, I picked up a copy of Sharks in the Time of Saviors. I hope that that's gonna come out with like not too much glare for you guys on camera. I'll try and adjust it. I bought this one basically because of the cover. I have no idea what this story is about. Oh yeah, it takes place in Hawaii. In 1995, off the coast of Kailua Kona, Hawaii, 7-year-old... There's like cats doing stuff there. I don't know what they're doing. Can you hear? I have cats making noises around the corner there, and I have no idea what they're doing. Sounds like Maurice, because I can hear his chains. So, 7-year-old Nainoa Flores falls overboard into the Pacific Ocean. When a shiver of sharks appears in the water, everyone fears the worst. But Noah is gingerly delivered to his mother in the jaws of a shark, making his story the stuff of legend. Nainoa's family, struggling amid the collapse of the sugarcane industry, hails his rescue as a sign of favor from ancient Hawaiian gods, a belief that appears validated after Noah exhibits puzzling new abilities. But as time passes, this supposed divine favor drives the family apart, and the Flores siblings end up scattered across the mainland. When supernatural events revisit the Flores house in Hawaii, they're all forced to reckon with the bonds of family, the meaning of heritage, and the cost of survival. So, it's sounded really interesting. I bought it basically because of the cover and because of the setting and exploring a little bit of Hawaiian culture, I hope. So if you guys have read this, let me know if it's any good. Next, I went back to the independent bookstore, which is about a 12 to 15 minute drive from my house. And I don't know if you guys remember when we did the shop with me at the independent bookstore video. If you guys are new here, I'll put the link down in the description below if you guys want to go and check that out. But they had a shelf where once a year, whenever they do their inventory, which they're actually going to be doing in May, because that's what the sales girl told me when I asked her how often they change up those books. She said that they do it about once a year, and then they leave the books, they're brand new books from a brand new bookstore, but they leave them on special for 2 for $10, and you have to buy 2. Like, you can't just buy one at $5 because they want them to sort of find homes. And I went back there and I actually bought 4 more books from that liquidation shelf that they have. One of them was not in the best condition, but the rest of them were quite acceptable. So the first one I got is a Paul Tremblay book, which, if you guys will remember from, I think it was my physical TBR video that I did a while back, I told you guys that I had never, or maybe it was like one of my book hauls, but in any case, like a previous video where I told you guys that I had never read Paul Tremblay before, but I had happened across, I think it was a short story collection, which I picked up in, I think, a book outlet on a haul. Anyway, too many details. But the PS of the story is I still haven't read Paul Tremblay, but I found this book, and this is a full-length novel, not a short story collection. So I picked it up because, like, honestly, it's in like pretty much brand new condition, which it would be because it was just being liquidated at the bookstore. So they're not used, they're brand new. And this one is in really good shape, and I paid $5 for it. So I'm really happy about that. I don't know what was with me, but maybe I was going through some sort of a horror vibe. So I picked up How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive. This one, again, I think I may have seen around BookTube. Maybe people were talking about it, or maybe it was just a subject that looked kind of interesting to me, but it's about this guy. The setting takes place in the 1980s, and it's about this filmmaker who is not doing so well until he stumbles across this like old-timey camera, or a different kind of camera that's like outside of the decade that he's that he's in, where the story takes place, and he starts to use the camera to produce his movie, and then things happen. So this one too, looking really good. It is just under 400 pages. Again, it cost $5. It was part of that 2 for $10 at that independent bookstore. Then I found a copy of Slender Man, which, you guys, like the cover, can we just please for 2 seconds? And what I love about it, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but it's got like all this different formatting. Oh my god, it's like blanking out. I don't know. Maybe I'll try and take pictures and show it to you so it doesn't like blank out on camera, but like, I just think it's going to be really fun to read because of all this different formatting. Like, maybe it's going to go really quickly because of it, because you have a tendency to flip the pages a bit quicker when you're reading that kind of stuff. And I thought that it was just like really, really cool. And of course, it's got this eerie kind of horror vibe going to it. But this is the only book where there was like a little bit of damage. Which is fine, because it's like a really good deal anyway. And it's not an outright tear. It's just kind of like, maybe it fell and like bent funny a little bit. So, copy of Slender Man, one man's search for the truth about one of the most intriguing urban legends ever. The modern boogeyman, Slender Man, leads him down a dark, dangerous path in this creepy supernatural fantasy that will make you question where the line between myth and terrifying reality begins. And then there's like a little blurb. So anyway, if you guys are interested in picking that up or learning more, you know, you guys can look it up, but I just think it's like really cool, and I'm glad that I came across it. Maurice, do you mind? I'm like trying to record here. He's busy playing with some catnip that he discovered somewhere. Hey, weirdo, come here. What do you have there? Like, making a racket. It's too funny. Okay, Slender Man. And then lastly, I picked up a copy of The Maid. As I understand, although I may be mistaken, but I believe that this is a Canadian author, and I know there's like 4 or maybe 5 books out in this series, but this is the original, and I've never read it, but I've seen it floating around BookTube for quite some time, and I do like a mystery thriller. I hear that this one has a protagonist that may be on the spectrum, so you know that I'm showing up for that. It certainly sounds that way anyway because of the blurb on the back, but yeah, I'm excited to read this, and hopefully if I like it, I'll pick up the subsequent ones. Perhaps, perhaps. Let's start with one and see how it goes. Now, for Valentine's Day, Eric gave me a gift card to Indigo, so Come here, you stinker. So for Valentine's Day, Eric gave me a gift card to Indigo, which is our local big Barnes & Noble type bookstore in Canada. And I went in there just because I had some time to kill one day. I went to the bargain section and I actually found 3 books for $10. So they had a table where they had 3 books for $10, and I think I managed to find the 3 fantasy sci-fi books that were on that table, which is fantastic for me. So I'm going to show you guys what they are. So the first thing here is called Winter's Orbit. Now this one, you guys, I have very high hopes for. So I really hope that it's good, because this here is a I think it's like a fantasy sci-fi queer romance. So I am definitely down for this. I have very high hopes for this book. Like, I want this book to wow me, to break the boundaries. I want it to make me a believer in romance in novels, because if you guys have been here a minute, you know that I struggle, and not a little lightly, with finding romance that works for me, that's done in the right way. And I think that the one book that I have found that's in the romantasy genre that did work for me, like completely, was Leigh Bardugo's The Familiar. That one absolutely worked for me. But I am not an Abby Jimenez, Emily Henry, whatever, insert your contemporary romance novelist here. I'm not gonna find that necessarily very engaging. So I have very high hopes for this one. I think I looked up the ratings on Goodreads. I can't remember what they were, but I think it was good enough. In any case, I picked this up maybe because it's a queer romance. It's male. Maybe I'm gonna like it. So anyway, if you guys have read this one, please let me know if I made a good choice. The next one that I picked up is actually a Gregory Maguire, and this is a more recent publication, certainly more recent than the whole Wicked series. Now, I should mention that it's not my first Gregory Maguire. I read Wicked, and I think the second or third in that series, something like 15 years ago. So it's been a minute since I've read some Gregory Maguire, but I believe that this one could potentially be a fairy tale retelling in like a contemporary setting. It says Laura lives on the Upper East Side of Manhattan in an aging brownstone with her old world grandparents, but she may well be sent to a boarding school in Montreal in the new year after being expelled from school for behavior unbecoming of a young lady. Constantly telling herself stories about the events surrounding her to divorce herself from the tragedies of her life, Laura truly finds herself inside a fairy tale when a handsome boy with a swan wing in place of a left arm lands on her roof. But Laura must forge unlikely allies in her quest to keep this storybook character from overturning her life in all the wrong ways. Gregory Maguire conjures a haunting tale of magical realism that illuminates one young woman's heartbreak and hope as she begins the inevitable journey to adulthood. So a coming-of-age story from Gregory Maguire. I'm happy to see it. It's not a big one. This one is coming in, and it's got like all this like book club interview stuff at the back. So if we're looking at the story, 230 pages, I'm liking that. That is, for me, you know, I love me some low-hanging fruit. So I'm really pleased with this one. Again, this was part of the 3 for 10. The third book that I picked up in the 3 for 10 pile is called Pharaohs of the Sky by Robert L. Ballantyne. And this one, I believe, is a self-publication. I've never heard of it. When I looked it up on Goodreads, it had 5 stars, which had me really excited, except that it was rated by the author himself. So, which Goodreads I know allows you to do, because like Leigh Bardugo gave The Familiar 5 stars and so did I. So I'm not judging Mr. Ballantyne on his rating of his own novel, but this is actually an author that is based out in Toronto. And yeah, I mean, there were like a few copies, maybe 6 copies on the 3 for 10 table at my local Indigo. And I just thought that it was like a really cool premise. I'll tell you guys what it's about.
Imagine everything that you know is wrong. In Cairo, after uncovering evidence he believes will alter humanity's perception of its own history, an eminent university professor is viciously murdered. In another part of the Egyptian capital, a determined police inspector will stop at nothing to find the murderer. In Toronto, one of the world's leading ancient astronaut proponents receives a startling message to decode a mysterious set of coordinates. In another part of Ontario, a young self-employed wrought iron designer is convinced he's somehow involved. And in the sky, someone is watching. Thus begins Robert L. Ballantyne's debut novel, From the Streets of Toronto to a Secretive Washington Bookshop, from the heart of Cairo to the peaks of the Great Pyramids. Pharaohs of the Sky lures you into a world where nothing is as it seems, and where clandestine operatives conspire to hide the truth. In this international mystery, fact remains elusive by design and fate alike, yet all revolves around the answer to one question: are we really alone? It's time to question everything we think we know. So, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I think it could be really interesting. The thing about self-published novels is sometimes you really find a diamond in the rough, and this is what I'm hoping that this one will be. So once I read it, I might even get in touch with the author, or try and get in touch with the author, because I think this book was published in 2019, and there's no ratings. It's like no one has read it. So let's hope that this one is a real gem. I think my pile is gonna tumble. So yesterday I actually had an accident and fell into the thrift store while I was trying to declutter my house. Does that ever happen to any of you? Let me know in the comments below, because as I was at the thrift store dropping off my spring cleaning purging, I came across a few books that I thought I might enjoy reading. So those came home with me. The first one that I have here, I am not gonna lie, I bought it because of the cover. I did buy it because of the cover. It's called Mongrels. I think it's about a family that has a curse, like maybe they're werewolves, maybe they're not, I don't know. I'm kind of going into this one a little bit blind, but I know that it had a just under 4.0 stars on Goodreads, which is pretty good for my general appreciation of books, because I would say that anything that's over, let's say 3.2, there's a good chance that I'm going to like it. So I picked this one up because the cover for me is stunning. That's all I needed. So we have Mongrels. Let me know if you guys have read it, and what you guys think, if it's good, if I should put it to the top of my TBR or what have you. The same as I always tell you. Let me know which ones of the books that I have that I haven't read, you guys have read, blah, blah, blah. You guys know what to do. I'm gonna start a second pile here. I also found a practically brand new copy of Gunslinger, which is the first in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I have heard talk about this series, oh my God, for so long. I've never picked one up because I think that there's mixed reviews about this series. Like, some people really, really love it, and some people are just like, ugh, it's garbage, I can't get into it. But I think that there's quite a few sequels to this book, and maybe it's because it is in trade paperback format and not in pocketbook size or mass market paperbound format. It's quite a lot thinner. I was expecting a much thicker, I was expecting the book to be a lot longer than it seems to look this way. So for now, it's got a pretty big font point, and I think that it's giving, it's about 230 pages according to the count. So I'm excited to find this because, again, this was a thrift store find. It cost me $4.25, and it's like brand new. Like, no one has read this. It's like somebody got it and they're like, okay, going to the thrift store. What can you do? But it's a treasure for me, so I'm happy to have it. I also picked up what seems to be a brand new copy of The Night House by, is it Joe Nesbo? Yo Nesbo? I don't know. I know that he's Scandinavian, so I don't want to like mispronounce the name. If you guys know how to pronounce this, write me a little like pronunciation key or something in the comments, because again, I have, I think, The Snowman, which is something that I kept aside from one of my eBay hauls at some point, but I never got around to it. But like this one, I'm sorry you guys, but the cover, I love it. And yeah, I'm gonna read this one. I just think it looks super cool. So yeah, love that. Brand new copy, again, $4.25 for this one. Okay, I also found a copy of My Dark Vanessa, which I considered buying just to add it to my bookshelves, but Addison told me that I was not allowed to buy books that I already read. So I did move it from the very bottom shelf that it was sitting at to a more like eye-level shelf, because I'm like, that's a really good book. I had a good time with that one, despite its subject matter, but I really think that somebody should buy it, so I wanted to make it more accessible to people. So I just moved it from the way bottom shelf to like eye-level shelf, and sadly, I left it behind because my daughter was very strict with me and told me that I was not allowed to buy books that I already read. So I listened to her and I bought another one instead about a child who like murders people, and the mom and how she deals with that after the fact and how it affects her life. And that one is We Need to Talk About Kevin. we need to talk about Kevin. So this one was actually on my Amazon wish list, and the universe provides. The universe provides. So this one also cost me $4.25. Yeah, it's about a mom that is divorced from titular Kevin's father, and Kevin, not the father, ends up killing a whole bunch of classmates when he is 16 years old. And it is a story that revolves around the mom and the aftermath of like how she has to deal with that sort of happening in her life. And I just think that that's a really fascinating subject matter. And this one has been on my radar for quite some time. Do you guys see a trend here? Like all these books are cutting in front of each other in terms of reading priority. So I don't know. This is what I was saying in the channel like a while ago, that I don't know if TBRs are like a realistic thing for me, these like monthly TBR videos, because at the beginning of the month, I am so full of good intentions, but like now, I don't know. All these great books are coming into my life. Like, thank you for this wealth and abundance of books, universe. I love that. But like, how can I read them? How can I read them all? Okay. And then lastly, like as if the universe was not enough on my side during this thrift trip, I found a first edition hardcover printing 1996 of Christopher Pike's The Last Vampire 5, and this one is called Evil Thirst, and it's fantastic. And you guys, I don't even think this book has been cracked open, okay? So I am super thrilled about this. Now you have to understand that the reason that I became a reader was this author right here. Now I had started, I think I said it in a previous video, but if you guys are new here, you wouldn't know that. But I started out reading the Fear Street series by R.L. Stine, like way back in the early 90s, and then I found Christopher Pike, because I was reading like teen horror. That was my genre, people, teen horror. And Christopher Pike was just a better author than R.L. Stine, a stronger author. And I just like devoured the books. I may have had like 30 or 40 of Christopher Pike books lining my bookshelves. If this one made it up to number 5, then the chances are I probably read this one. But even if it's only number 5 in the series, I'm still going to read it. And I don't know, it's just taking me back, people. It's just taking me back. So not only is it vintage, it is nostalgic, and it cost me $4.25, which is insane for a brand new first edition publication from the 90s. And you don't see this anymore, you guys. You find them literally nowhere. But I found one, so I'm super happy. And then the last book that I got, I actually had to buy on, I don't know, eBay, I think, and get it shipped over to me directly from England. And this one kind of comes with a little bit of a story and an anecdote. And I think after this, I was going to give you guys more of a reading update from like the before times of this video, but I don't think I'm going to do that because I can see the runtime is really long here. So I'm going to close out the video after I talk to you about this one. But this one comes with a little bit of an anecdote. When I was in Cégep, which is around the time that you're 17, 18, 19 years old here in Montreal. There was a used bookstore that had rented a spot in a building called the Faubourg, which was very close to the school that I attended, which was Dawson College. And they had a whole table outside full of used books where I picked up a copy of this book for $2. One day when I had some time to kill between classes or something like that. And I must have gotten rid of the book, and I read the book, and I remember really loving the book, and I must have gotten rid of the book at some point just as I'm doing like one of my regular purges over the years. But the feeling after having read that book super stuck with me. Like I was going to make a video for you guys about my 5-star reads that I've had, you know, throughout my life, some older ones, and when I say older, I mean like books that I read a few years ago or many, many years ago, right up until more recent reads that I've discovered. And I wanted to include this book as a part of that video. But the problem is I don't freaking remember the plot. Like the only thing that I remember about this book in particular is how much I freaking loved it. Like I just remember all kinds of feels, like all kinds of joy, all kinds of wow, all kinds of like, man, this is fantastic. But I couldn't tell you right now what this book is about. Like if you asked me to give you a summary of what this book is about, I'm not really sure I could tell you because I read it so long ago. So because I remember pretty much only having terrific feels, I decided to order another copy. Now, it shouldn't surprise you to learn that this is a super old sci-fi. It's written by Amy Thompson. It's called Storyteller. And can we just take a moment of silence for the cover because Chef's kiss. Love the cover. This takes place, so a teller who is the protagonist, I don't even remember how she ends up on this planet, but she ends up on this planet, and the planet is inhabited by these like water creatures called harzels, who are kind of genetically fluid creatures. So it's really interesting. It's a sci-fi. There's a little bit of space and planet exploration, and I don't know, I'm not really selling it. I'm not really selling it. I need to read it again. So before I go ahead and make that video about me suggesting my absolute 5-star reads to you, this super obscure book absolutely needs to make it onto that list. And before I can refer you guys as to what's actually happening in the book, I need to reread it, basically. So this is me, this is my confession, telling you that if you can get your hands on this book, do it now. You won't regret it. I remember crying, loving this book, being in all the feels in all the different places, but I couldn't tell you anything about the plot. So I want to reread this book as an absolute priority, if only just so I can add it into that 5-star reads recommend video that I want to do for you. Does that make sense? I hope so. So anyway, copies of this book are getting increasingly hard to find, and she is an American author, I believe. And this copy is from, I don't know if I can see when it was published. Yeah, so this has a copyright of 2003, but I don't think I've ever seen any newer versions or reprints or anything of this novel. So yeah, I mean, just like the vintage artwork, and I don't know, it's just kind of fantastic. Yeah, so that's about it, you guys. I think we're gonna call it quits for the video here, because I can see that I'm running way over your guys' patience tolerance for all the blah blah that you come to this channel to find. I really appreciate you all being here. You know that if you have made it until the end of the video, you are absolutely my favorite. I'm afraid that for the mid-month reading vlog, I didn't get much reading done. It's just been like a super frickin' hectic month where I've got these 2 massive books that I need to finish. I wanted to mention also that the graphic novel Game of Thrones that I had taken out volumes 1 and 2 of those books, they went straight back to the library. I didn't finish reading them because I didn't like the format in which it was written. I don't know if graphic novels are my thing. Maybe I have like a genetic defect where graphic novels and comic books and stuff just don't work for me, but I found it very kind of like stunted in terms of the storytelling. And yes, the artwork was amazing, but in the end it was a DNF for me. I returned those to the library early, I think not even 24 hours later, for somebody else to enjoy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm still reading The Tiger and the Wolf. I'm still reading Ordinary Monsters. I think I have like a Murder, She Wrote type book that's sitting on my nightstand that I'm reading as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm just, guys, clearly all over the place, and it's a good thing I have you here to ground me. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. If you guys don't want to leave a comment or don't know what to leave me, but you want to let me know that you're here, please leave me a little emoji. Let's put a spider emoji just for something totally random in the comments, and you can let me know that you were here. And I really appreciate you, and I will see you again in the next video. Thank you so much. See you again next time. Ciao for now.